Hi, this is Chris O'Leary. I'm an economist at the Upjohn Institute. I'm going to talk to you about the effects of job referrals on employment in Brazil. This paper is joint with colleagues at the Inter-American Development Bank in Brazil, Tulio Cravo, Ana Cristina Sierra, and Leandro Justino Veloso. The objective of the paper is to estimate the impacts of job interview referrals by the Brazilian Public Employment Service, the SINE. We look at outcomes for employment and earnings, and we look at effects by subgroups: age, gender, race, educational attainment, and we look at the program interaction with unemployment insurance, and the mode of delivery, staff-assisted or self-service. Everyone who works in the formal sector in Brazil has one of these, an employment book. The employment book is something you use to register for job search with the SINE, Sistema Intermediation Nacional Empleado, in one of the 1,500 offices in the 26 states plus the federal district. This picture was taken in Brasilia, the national capital, and in addition to the central office, there are 16 other offices in Brasilia. The central office also has a walk-in service. This book is used to register for unemployment insurance as well, seguro-desemprego. And this is the unemployment insurance registration screen. This system was developed by the Ministry of Labor and Employment. And the data from this are used for customer service and program administration. Again, this is the UI applications screen. This is a screen in the lobby, the main lobby of the employment office, the central office in Brasilia. There are 16 other sites, and these are pictures of customers using the banks in the waiting area or entering and using services throughout. The data that we have for the evaluation study covers the years 2012 through 2016. Over this period, the newly registered with the SINE for job search were almost 32 million people, and there were over 27 million job interview referrals. You can also see that there are some online referrals. Compared to the 27 million, there were 608,000 starting in 2014. These are self-referrals, people who, after they register with a staff person at the office, from their computer at home, they can choose a job vacancy that they are interested in and believe they're qualified and make a self-referral, attest to their skills to fill the vacancy. The data that we have to work with, here's some descriptive statistics about it. About 94% are unemployed, 6% are employed. Our evaluation study focuses on the unemployed. We use this data. These people are older than the employed who also use the public employment service, about 32 versus 24. They are a bit more Anglo. They are less educated, have lower educational attainment, and tend to be more male. So these are characteristics of the people in our sample. The data that we have comes from the program administrative records. It's observational data, not generated from a experiment, but we use a quasi-experimental design, a comparison group design, where we match people who received services with people who didn't receive services. We compute estimates by a difference in difference estimator that controls for pre-trends. We look at outcomes in particular for employment within 3 months of job referral. And that's because most of the people who are registered with the SINE do return to work at some point. So we set up a criteria where there would be a difference in customers, and we want to link the result to the job referral. And we think that 3 months after looking at different measures, this is the one that generates some differences. The time from referral to reemployment, the speed of employment in terms of months, and the reemployment earnings. This is me presenting the evaluation design to staff of the ministry in Brasilia, and then you can see the people in the ministry. Outcome estimates that we produced were job interview referrals by the staff increased employment within 3 months by almost 20 percentage points. The time until employment was cut by almost 1.5 months, although reemployment wages were somewhat lower. This is not a big difference. Most of the people, these are not high-skilled jobs, and most of the people are working at or about the minimum wage. The subgroup effects, we didn't see any differences by age, gender, or race. There was no difference between long-term unemployed or not long-term unemployed. UI recipients have a slightly lower effect on reemployment, but there's no difference with people who are not receiving UI. Most effective, the job interview referrals seem to be most effective for the least educated. The Public Employment Service helps this group in particular. The self-referral appears to be less effective than the staff referral as well. These are the point estimates in blue dots. These are the mean effects, and the confidence bands are above and below. I call that the nose and whiskers plot. And these confidence bands, if they are not overlapping, there are significant differences. The data that we have on the subgroups is limited. Not every observation has all the characteristics, but on average we see slightly different, higher effects on reemployment for males than females, but no difference. No differences among the ages, no differences among the race groups. You see that the lower educational attainment is significantly different from the higher educational attainment group. Long-term unemployed are not different from the full sample, and the UI beneficiaries are not different from the non-UI beneficiaries. The people with the self-referrals do have a lower effect estimate. We also have some data from a new service available through the Public Employment Service in Brazil, a cell phone app. We mentioned that in 2014, people could self-referral through the internet after they register with the Public Employment Service. Now that's available to people to use on their cell phone. This is some data on that activity. This is the staff referrals. And these are the cell phone app, which started in April of 2017 and quickly increased in popularity. And you can see that it really displaced the use of self-referrals through the internet. Graphically, it's stark. The self-referrals through the internet, the cell phone app usage, and the combined is almost all cell phone usage now. Estimates of these different modes of job interview referrals. The cell phone appears to increase employment by about 7.5 percentage points, whereas the web referrals by about 9.5 percentage points. People may more quickly self-referral on an easy cell phone app and may contemplate a bit longer if they have all the information and think about it. With the professional intermediation, remember, on the longer time period, we had estimates of 19.7 over the whole time period, and 13.4 was for the limited time period when the self-referrals were allowed by SINE. To conclude, SINE job referrals increase employment rate, result in faster reemployment but lower reemployment wages. They're more effective for the less educated, which is a common result in public employment services around the world. Self-referrals increase employment less than SINE staff referrals. The web referrals are more effective than the cell phone app referrals. However, use of the cell phone is a coming trend in all public employment services. SINE increases transitions from the informal to the formal sector work as well. This is something that I didn't make a point of, but this has been a trend in recent years in Brazil, and the SINE has been part of that. Only about 30% of people work in the informal sector, or at least 70% are now working at least part of the year in the formal sector, whereas it was only 60% before. The SINE added recently more job developers to raise the quality of the job listings. They want to serve not only the low end of the labor market, the low wage labor market well. They want to serve all job seekers well. These are places where you can learn more about our study. There's a working paper posted on the Upjohn website. We have a very concise policy brief. And actually, I'm presenting at the APPM conference in Denver in November of this year. And 2 days later, my colleague Tulio is presenting at the Latin American Caribbean Economics Association meetings in Puebla, Mexico. Thank you.